What's going on, people? It's your man the YB back once again. Big shout out to my doggy Fundles Productions for coming through and boosting the coin up. So let's find this quick leak right now. Deontay Wilder's lost his head. That's what we do know. He bugging. Here we go. Deontay Wilder on his defeat to Joseph B-level Parker. It was a boring fight. Nothing really happened. Do you know what I mean? Like, fair enough. We've all watched boring fights before, right? But listen, when you're in a fight that's boring, number one, there's no good telling us that. You was a dude in the fight, right? Yeah? Why are you telling us it was boring? Why don't you use them long basketball player legs and them long gangly daddy long, them big gangly looking ass daddy long legs having arms, biggest punch of all time arms, to make it exciting, some. Yeah? Again, why didn't you use them big daddy long leg looking ass arms, greatest punching power of all time ass arms, to do something and make it exciting? I bet it was a boring fight like you was just watching it. Yeah? The second point, can't remember what I was going to say, but there was a second point, you best believe it. What was it? The first thing, you should have done something. The second thing, I don't know what. Either way, it was whack. Oh yeah, second thing was, we don't need to be told it was boring. Yeah? We will have to watch it. That's the second point. First point, if it was boring, why didn't your boring ass do some? Yeah? Why didn't your biggest puncher of all time ass do some? Number two, please don't tell us how bad the fight was. We watched it. We had to painstakingly sit through that crap. Whack. And this is why Wilder, I've been saying for years, I ain't convinced on Wilder's power. I got a lot of people critiquing me. Oops, he can't punch. As I expected, he can't. Same as Fury, to be quite frank. And I can't lie, I broke at the end. Towards the end, I started rating Fury, but I was wrong. I was right the first time. Yeah? Wilder, I said, people hyping his punch power up, but what's he really done? Knocked out a 75-year-old man, Luis Ortiz. Okay, that's his claim to fame. He couldn't knock down Tyson Fury. He couldn't knock out Tyson Fury. How much power has he really got? He can't finish his dinner with Fury. Bottom line. The one fighter who came to fight, let's be real here, people. Luis Ortiz was an inside job. Yeah? Luis Ortiz was an inside job. They were all friends and God knows what else was going on. Fact. Oh, I'm fighting Ortiz 5 times because we're friends and we both have daughters with conditions. I ain't knocking that part of it, but come on now. Yeah? You've knocked out a man who was your friend. Well done. Yeah? Well done for that. What else you done? Nothing. The one guy who came in there to win, you got punched up 2.5 times. I think he won the first fight, but either way, Fury punched you up 2 more times. And since then, you've gone life and death with Parker. Parker's like the equivalent of Ortiz. The difference was Parker wasn't his friend. Parker wasn't there to go along to get along like Ortiz was. And what do we know? The first B-level dude Wilder's in there with, he lose. Yeah? He got stopped by Fury twice and he lost to Parker. Like, this guy ain't no good. His punching power's overrated. Don't forget, people, Joe Joyce knocked Joe Spark out, so it can be done. Can be done. In fact, he didn't even put the guy down. Didn't even try to put the guy down. Anyway, then goes on. I went right back to training the next day. I hate when people do this, like it's some sort of feat. Yeah? Oh, well, I went to training the next day, and what good's that for anyone? Yeah? After a fight, you should be so exhausted because you've left everything out there. You can't train the next day. And I've given Wilder a lot of credit over the years, yeah, like his performances against Fury twice. Guess what? You ain't hear about how he was training the next day, did you? No, you didn't, because he weren't doing nothing the next day. He probably weren't doing nothing for the next week. Because his arse was tore up. Fact. And rightfully so, he shouldn't. But there's no W there to be had. I put on a boring fight and didn't do none. So let me now celebrate that about how I went training the next day. No, the fact you went training the next day is how whack and embarrassing and pitiful your performance was. Because no one in a real fight is training the next day. Fact. I'm pretty sure Canelo came out of these bars after the Bivol loss. After Bivol daddied him, he come out and said, oh, well, I was training the next day. Well, what good was that? Yeah? If you got so much energy to train the next day, why didn't you do some when Bivol was in there? sunning you. Oh, Canelo was politicking in that fight. 100%. Top politicant, either way. 100%. Some Spanish thing. Top politicante. That's what he was doing in there with Bivol. All of a sudden he politicking. All of a sudden he in there walking backwards doing this. Big pressure fight, wannabe ass dude. Carrot top. Big carrot top politicante. That's what he was doing in there. 100%. Anyway. Oh, stop it. Peep this bar here. He really didn't do nothing. What? Parker really didn't do nothing. Wow. This is the big daddy long legs, biggest puncher of all time, talking about someone not doing nothing. Parker, all due respect, he ain't the biggest puncher of all time. He don't allege to be. Parker is a solid boxer, and really, when you look at his career, throughout his career, he's never been a big knockout guy. He didn't knock Chisora out. He didn't knock Andy Ruiz out when he won the belt. I think it was WBO. He's a good boxer. That's what he does. He outboxes people for the most part. So Parker did what he's supposed to do. Your big power having ass, allegedly, is supposed to knock people out or put it on them. So if we go and talk about who didn't really do nothing, Parker did exactly what he said on the tin. Your ass didn't do nothing. If we're going to get to the really of it, let's be real here, people. As far as really goes, yeah, he really didn't do nothing. If out of both fighters, who would you have to say really did nothing? You really did nothing. Yeah? Your fake power, daddy long legs, wannabe, ass, ain't do nothing. That's what we do know for a fact. Did you get a knockdown? No. Did you knock the guy out? No. Did you do anything? No. Parker won. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if we're going to talk about who did nothing, you lost the fight. Let's start there. Parker won. So he did do something, right? He won. Yeah? If nothing else, Parker can go home knowing he caught a W. What did you catch? Nothing is what you caught. So let's start there. Let's start and finish there, shall we? Anyway, they just went off the little flurries or whatever. Little flurries was more than you did in there. Did nothing in there. Eddie Hearn had you losing every round. I think I turned the fight off, got bored. I can't tell you who did what, but I know that you didn't win, that's for sure. From what I saw, you didn't win. I think I did watch it, kind of, on 2-speed or something, but the fight was dead for sure, but it wasn't Parker's fault. That's what he's supposed to do. Parker's supposed to outbox you. And to be quite frank, Parker was running forward. There's quite a few snaps of that fight of Wilder up against the ropes, just covering up. All looking like this kind of thing on the ropes, like just loosey-goosey, like he normally does. In the training for that, In the training for that fight with Parker, I had to travel 2 times. 20 hours of travelling. And those guys were already in Europe. They were only 2 or 3 hours away. I'm not complaining, I'm just saying what I had to go through. Wow, during a 12-week camp, people, I had to travel for 2 days out of how many days? Okay, 3 months, 90 days. So, okay. 2 out of 90 days, which is just over 2.4% or something like that. So 2.3% of my training camp, I had to travel. And that's why I did absolutely jack all. Okay, buddy. I'm not making an excuse, I'm just saying what I went through. This guy carrying on like he just beat terminal stage 4 cancer. Do you know what I mean? Fair play to him. I'm all for excuses. If Wilder wants to get up here and show me stage 4 cancer diagnosis before the camp started, I'd say, listen, man, fair play to him. He's just saying what he had to go through, right? But don't get your big ass up here telling me how you had to travel. Like, how taxing is travelling, all due respect? Okay, it might be a bit taxing, but it ain't taxing enough for you to look that bad. Yeah? Everyone be travelling. A lot of these USA fighters don't appreciate that's what happens. Fury had to travel to fight you. And if you don't want to travel, there's no one stopping you train in Europe. Wilder isn't a low-level guy who has to train in the US because he can't afford it. Wilder could have flew his team out to, never mind Europe, he could have flew his team out to Saudi, right? And train there. I think Fury's been training in Saudi. Certainly there's no excuse for the travelling business. If you don't want to be travelling, get your ass out there and stay there. Don't lose in pitiful fashion and then be saying, I'm not making excuses, but he was in Europe and I was in here, and like you ain't a grown-ass man. Like you didn't know that before the fight. And before the fight, Wilder weren't mentioning this, was he? Wilder wasn't saying, oh man, I've been travelling and I'm jet lagged and cock-a-doodle-oo, and oh man, it's been a tough journey. And he weren't saying all that. He was doing this, getting me gassed. I think I put some coin down as well, to be quite frank. I had Wilder to knock Parker out at 1-4. Sorry. Yeah, I think it was about 1-4, but something like that. Either way, you put a tenner on, you get 14 quid back. Bumped. That's what happened to that coin. I was convinced. I don't know what happened. I was convinced. I thought, yeah, Wilder can knock this guy out. I don't know what. Genuinely, I was 100% certain Parker getting knocked Spark out. And I'm someone who don't even rate Wilder like that. It's mad. It's mad what things can do to your head. I was like, yeah, he can get knocked out different. I don't know why I felt that way, but I did. I ain't gonna lie about it. I felt compelled to tell people Parker getting knocked Spark out. Oops. Wilder didn't do nothing. He did less than nothing. Useless. Like he said himself, it was a boring fight. Yeah? Hella boring. Super duper boring. Anyway, what's next for Wilder? Well, he bottled the Zhang fight. Joe Parker, I gotta be honest, man. Joe Parker, he really on his job. Joe Parker is on his job. He ain't playing no games. That's a fact. I respect Parker. Parker took Wilder on, was supposed to get smoked, and now he's taking on the man who beat the man, in that sense. Parker got beat by Joe Joyce. Joyce got beat by Zhang, and Parker's now fighting Zhang. There's not, obviously the fight's in Saudi, so he'll be well paid, but there's nothing sweet about Zhang, is there? There's nothing like, at least Wilder's kind of a good risk to reward. Wilder's got clout, a former world champion. It made sense to fight Wilder. No one should be really fighting Zhang. But I respect Parker. He a real one. Because Wilder was out there after this fight against Parker. He was saying, I'm going to fight Zhang. He ain't going to do nothing. Yeah? Wilder has Parker problems. He don't want none of Zhang. Zhang would have knocked his ass 3 different ways to Monday. Fact. Now, listen. If Zhang fought Wilder on a Saturday, Wilder's ass would be knocked out 3 different ways to Sunday, mate. 100%. All the different ways. All the different ways he can time travel to Sunday is how Zhang would knock his ass out, for sure. That backhand, ping! And Wilder got no chin. Wilder can't even hold a shot off Fury, never mind Zhang. Zhang can really bang. Who here thinks Tyson Fury would have knocked Joe Joyce Spark out? I don't. Yeah? Zhang knocked him Spark out. The big juggernaut in a big heap on the floor. Yeah? The floranaut. That's what Zhang turned Du into. 100%. Zhilei Zhang turned Joe Joyce into the floranaut. Never mind, listen, you've got different types of nauts. You've got the juggernaut, who's a big Donny on Earth. You've got the astronaut, who's some cat in space, some moon Donny. And then you've got a floranaut, yeah, who just stuck to the floor. Zhilei Zhang turned Joe Joyce into the floranaut. Dude on the floor. Yeah, he was a juggernaut. He was a big unit on Earth. And then, boom, Zhang let off that, I think it was a hook actually. A right hook, but either way, whatever it was, it leapt it off, and the juggernaut turned into the floranaut, just stuck there, 100%. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Smash the like button, subscribe, and lick off the bell, 100%. Know that.